Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Knowledge, and today we're reviewing Skyzoo and Dumbo Station's The Bluest Note, and I am sipping on Lagunitas 12th of Never Ale. It's a good floral, very flavorful kind of ale, very different from their signature beer, their IPA. I kind of prefer their IPA, but this one's good too, and it'll do the trick for this review and listening to this album. The title of the album intrigued me because it harkens back to some of the best jazz records ever made that were put out on Blue Note Records. Some classics came out there, from Miles Davis to Thelonious Monk to John Coltrane, just to name a few. The phrase itself refers to an expressive note, something that you hear a lot in jazz, and I like my hip-hop expressive and jazzy. You may remember that Madlib put out an album many years ago on Blue Note Records. He was remixing some of their jazz classics. And that was a good album. If you haven't heard it, check out that Madlib album. Skyzoo also has a lot of jazz tendencies, so I was geared up for a good journey on this EP. I found out too that Dumbo Station, the backing band of this whole project, is an Italian jazz band, and they provided live instrumentation all through this to serve as the backdrop for Skyzoo's musings. You've heard me say it before that I like one producer for a whole album cohesion, and I like seeing this trend for a lot of EPs of late. So it's cool that Skyzoo chose to have a live band back him up for the entirety of this album. Right off the bat on the first track, The Caveat, the jazzy tone is set for the entire album. You hear a smooth piano and howling horns. It's a very complex arrangement, but the drums keep it steady enough not to override Skyzoo's flow. His voice sounds assertive over the busy background, and it actually works. He has a good line on this first track that makes you think. He says, "Your legends don't never die, they just get to reflect." A smooth bass line follows on Good Enough Reasons. This one, it does seem like Skyzoo is overpowered a little bit, especially on the chorus. The chorus is simple enough, he probably didn't have to have any vocals on it, and he could have let the music do the speaking. But he also chose a faster flow than I would have liked to have heard on these verses. The beat is so smooth that a laid-back flow could have accommodated it a little bit better. The next track, There It Go, there's more nice instrumentation. The verses are better here and not overpowered by the music, but the chorus is very similar to the previous song, where Skyzoo is just spitting one phrase continuously over some horns. Doesn't seem necessary. Maybe just let the music speak for itself if it's just going to be one phrase over the chorus. The next track, Give and Take, this is a nice beat and flow change up. I like the tuned down pitch of the keyboards, bringing some backup vocals into the chorus. It's nice. It kind of reminds me of some late era Roots, which is good if you're striving to do innovative jazz rap. That's one of the best groups that you could sound like. He talks about the differences between him and his girl, and it's an interesting take on a subject that we've heard before, most recently on R.A. the Rugged Man's album that I reviewed last week. But Skyzoo still makes it work here, and like I said, the beat and the vocals, they work on this song to keep the lyrics interesting. The first note of the next track is instantly recognizable. It's from jazz artist Roy Ayers' We Live in Brooklyn, Baby, a song sampled in many hip-hop classics, most notably for me, Smith & Wesson's Home Sweet Home and Mos Def's three-part opus, Brooklyn. Skyzoo shout-outs Mos Def and lifts some of his lyrics as an homage on this track. And I think having the live group behind him, it does something extra for this sample that we've heard several times before in rap. In Skyzoo's song, the title is We Used to Live in Brooklyn. We used to live in Brooklyn. And he's talking about the gentrification of the city and how different it is from Mos Def's era. It's interesting to note that Dumbo, the same name as his backing group, is a section of Brooklyn that's known for gentrification. Jay-Z actually mentions this in the story of O.J. This is probably the best track lyrically on the album. I really enjoyed this one. The next track, Sing Comfortably, it rounds things out and it smooths things out again. And this time, Skyzoo accommodates with a perfect smooth flow. He seems to be speaking to the fans and how he gives them music that then becomes theirs. There's some good poetic lyrics here, and this one's definitely worth repeating. Skyzoo and Dumbo Station worked well together. I think the standout here is the backing group, though. Skyzoo is definitely an introspective, thoughtful MC with good beat selection. I enjoy listening to him, but he's not one of the ones that will be seen as one of the greats or the most innovative. He does stand out for what he's doing among the current popular rap climate, but unfortunately he doesn't stand out among the pool of current underground rappers or other jazz-tinged rappers that came before him. I would rather hear someone like Odyssey, for example. Nevertheless, this is a solid listen and worth it for the music. You don't hear many artists using jazz samples or live jazz instrumentation these days, so I give him kudos for taking that creative step. I give this a 6 out of a 12 pack. It'll get you feeling good, but the feeling will fade quickly. So until next time, enjoy listening to Skyzoo and Dumbo Station's The Bluest Note.